So I'm just going to check there's no shorts between the signal wires, just in case there's a little bridge somewhere. It appears to be all good. And just make sure you tuck all the signal wires, all the wires you're not going to be working on, out of the way, so we'll just leave this set on the side to work on. So I'll just tuck the ones I'm not working on there at the moment. We're back. Most things are soldered in. The only thing left to do is these power wires and signal wires over here. So all these are 60 millimeters to keep things left electrically clean. So now I'll have to pull it out of here. I'll put the signal wires in first, pull it out here, turn it over, check the other side of these, maybe a bit of solder on these, and yeah, just proceed on from there. Stephen has designed little slots in the TPU, and a cable coil goes through from one side, folds over, back through again and out, and then you just cut it off. And this locks everything together, so the other one goes in reverse from this side through, back through and over, and you cut it off, and just over top of the cap. And if you look over this side here, you can see the wall, and that, I probably should have had that a little bit further over, but the wall and that holds the cap quite nicely. So this locks all the ESCs in very nice, the centre caps, ready to turn over as well. I have the ESC wires installed going to the flight controller, and also put in a plastic mesh loom cover, quite important. And down here I'll be using this you can see that shrink wrap on the end, the black bit, that has been stretched out. That slides onto the plastic sheath, and then it's shrunk down, as you can see below. You see that blue wire? There's a little metal tab on that usually plugs into a flight controller, etc. Don't cut that off. Just cut that flat spot off, leaving the metal part on the end, because that part also wraps around the sheath of the wire, plastic bit, helping to hold it. If you don't do that, it'll just be wire holding onto the solder joints. There'll be your 12 volt and 5 volt leads coming out of the PDB, and the signal wire for the telemetry goes up into the flight controller, the 12 volt one, and the signal wire, the 5 volt one's spare. Just double check all those other wires, there's no shorts of your multimeter. Here you can see the plastic electrical tape covering the areas, and the plastic sheet. The cable ties hold down the mesh down while things are setting. Make sure you take a note of the motor signal wires 1, 2, 3 and 4, the different colours coming from your PDB, as well as the telemetry wire, the white one, and the 12 volt wire that will also plug into the same plug on your flight controller. Using a plastic bolt, goes through, and because this is a 4-motor vision, there's a space that usually takes the other ESC TPU, so you put it through, and then put another nut on it, and then carry on going through, and then put the second nut in the case of the X4 version. And with the main power leads, I've taken the other two out and then gone back and revisited, and what you do is thread, as you can see, you thread that from the bottom up, then over your lead and back down, and that actually acts as a stopper from pulling it through. So you just pull it up, and that holds the wires properly on top of each other. That's the way up we're building it, and I'm going to fit in the model this way. I've turned everything over, and the PDP is now bolted back in. Motor wires are wired to the ESCs. Just drop that down in the front while you do that. Then when you finish, you can just put it bolted back up. Everything has been turned over and fitted and installed, including the caps. And you can see the mesh cabling going around in there, around to the top, both sides. And the motors are soldered onto the ESCs. Now I showed you the method of building upside down, but you can build this up the correct way, because we now know definitely these wires are 60 millimeters long, including the negative, and the signal wires are 60 millimeters long, so you can see it fits in quite nicely. So you can actually do your build on the bench of the ESC, PDB, etc. So have everything going, ready to go. If you're going to do the X8 version, just do the same. Now we're going to turn the whole lot over. Put the battery tray on. All turned over. Turn it over. I have a SpeedyB version 2 F7 here. I'll be using that because of the connectivity of that and easily tune. And also it's on Betaflight. Leave it on Betaflight because you need to access the motors to change the directions with the APD app. But don't go to another firmware and don't change it, because eventually I'm going to be running iNav on here. So take your screws out, put them in the safe place. This is changing to one that can hold the air unit really nicely. We call it the draft plate. Here, this is where the flight controller mounts. You can unscrew that. Just making a note of length of the bolts. So you can see it's easy to take the arms out the way it's been designed, because you just unscrew everything from the top. So here's your plate. What you do is put the actual flight controller bolt from the bottom and put a locking nut on the top, and do that for all 4 positions, and then tighten it up.